Hey everybody, welcome back. I know it's been a long time since I've made any videos or anything like that on here. But I am actually in a place now where I can start to get there's a lizard, where I can start to get back, um, making videos on a more regular basis. So today I just wanted to make this video about Santa Muerte, which is a spirit that I have been dealing with now, working with for the past. Well, I guess I've she's been in my life since 2017. Um, and sorry, distracted by the lizard. She's been in my life since 2017 is when I first learned about her. But I didn't really start working with her on a regular basis until about, I want to say like 2020, 2021, somewhere in there, is when I started to get more um, you know, more involved with her on a more regular basis. Um, sorry, this is the only place, as you can see, I'm in a hotel right now, so this is really the only place that I can get some decent lighting. So I'm trying to get the light right. Sorry, but anyway, so Santa Muerte, she is great, and I just kind of wanted to tell a little bit of my story and how I kind of got to where I am now, with her. So, like I said, in 2017 is when I first learned about her. At the time, I was renting a room from someone who had a whole temple room in their house, and one of the shrines that they had in their, shrine room or temple room was a Santa Muerte shrine, and that's how I first came into interaction with her. And at that time, back in 2017, I got my first statue. It was a Nina Blanca, one of the white statues. And, I set it up and I had a candle and, was working with her and dealing with, praying to her here and there. But I was still learning, I was still new, didn't really have any sort of like super strong connection at the time because it was just all very new, you know. And so but and that was toward like, I want to say like the middle to end of 2017 when I first, got her set up. And then I ended up moving from that place. And when I moved, the place that I was moving to, unfortunately, I was not able to, I didn't really have a whole lot of space where I was moving at the time. And so I didn't really have the ability to take Santa Muerte with me because I already had a bunch of other shrines that I had more established relationships with, stuff like that. I barely had enough space for those shrines. So I ended up giving the statue back to my friend who I had been renting from, who was the one that gave me the statue in the first place. And, so I gave her back this, the statue back and just asked her, told her to, I would be able to take it, to take care of it. And just kind of went on with life. And Santa Muerte never, like, I never completely forgot about her, but I hadn't really established a super strong connection with her. So it wasn't some major thing at the time to not be working with her anymore. Um, and so, but there was a priestess that I knew, a priestess in Santeria priestess, who also has Santa Muerte, who had this huge statue and everything. So whenever I would go to her house for ceremonies and things like that, I would always see the Santa Muerte statue that she had. I would, go over and talk to her and, things like that. Um, and so one day we were at a ceremony at that same priestess house, and it came out in that ceremony that it was time for me to get Santa Muerte back, right? To, set up another altar for her, things like that. So I want to say that was probably like 2020, I believe, is when I went to that ceremony. And it was said that I need to, set up a shrine again for her and, you know, work with her again. So that's what I started doing, right? So I went and ended up, buying a small, like I had this small Nina Blanca that I found at there was a there was a mall that had a Mexican store in it, and so they had Santa Muerte statues and things like that. So I bought a Nina Blanca statue, went home, set it up, set up a table, put the statue, some flowers, a water, some candles, or a candle, whatever. And it was really interesting because I, I'm just going to tell the story as it is. Everybody can have their thought on it, but I'm just going to tell it in my interpretation of what happened. Right. So there is a book which I have around here somewhere. This book, right, which I think everybody probably knows, is a very popular Santa Muerte book that's out there. I had bought that book, started, reading it, trying to, just get familiar and, learn about her and everything. And so when I set up the altar with the Nina Blanca, I had this book on the altar. I had like a bottle of tequila on the altar, and then I had this book propped up, like, which I can't really do here, but it was propped up in a way on the altar, like against the wall, leaning back like this, to where you would not, like, the book should not fall, right? Um, and being in, looking at different things about Santa Muerte, and also coming from, I come from, the Ifa and Santeria, Orisha type backgrounds. So one of the things that you do in those traditions is you take the liquor or alcohol, whatever that you're using, and you put it in your mouth, and then you spray it from your mouth onto the pot or the altar, or whatever. So, and I've seen people do that with Santa Muerte. Um, so when I set up the altar, I took some tequila in my mouth and I sprayed it from my mouth onto the statue. And my interpretation of events is that she did not like that very much. For whatever reason, she did not want me to do that. And the reason that I say that is that when I did that, the book that was propped up in a way that it should not fall immediately fell forward, hit the candle, knocked the can like threw the candle off the table at me, right? And wax, of course, got, the liquid wax that was in there, got all over my legs and my arms, hands, all this stuff. And so I took that as like a sign from her that she did not want me to do that anymore. So, because, like, I can't demonstrate it right here, but the way the book was propped, there was no way that the book should fall, right? So I took that as her, like, knocking the book over, throwing the getting the candle. And the thing was, it wasn't like meant to hurt me. It was just meant to be a sign that, like, don't do that, for whatever reason. And it didn't burn me. The wax didn't burn me. And then what I thought was really interesting too was that there was, the liquid wax that's melting, like, if the candle falls and does that, you would think that that wax would put out, most likely put out that flame. Maybe not, but that's kind of how, in my mind, that should go. Like, that liquid is going to, because it was a lot of liquid wax. So it was like, that's going to put out that flame. But that flame hit the floor. The flame never, I mean, the candle hit the floor. The flame never went out. And I just picked it up and put it back on the altar. And yeah, so, different people may have different interpretations, but that whole event was my interpretation of that whole event was that she did not want me to do that any longer. And so what I started doing is now I will dip, my finger into the bottle, and get some of the tequila on my finger, and then just put it across the lips of the statue. So that's what I do now. Um, when I have tequila, as you see, I don't have any right now, but I need to get some more. Um, but anyway, so that was, one of my first moments where I felt like I really recognized, like, her presence being there and her, like, communicating back in some way, right? Um, so anyway, so but it was cool, So now I had this, altar set up, and I started working with her on a regular basis, and, just praying every day and making offerings, and all of those sorts of things. And I, um, eventually the altar that I had at the time like grew really big. So I think I had like a total, which I still have them. They're just in storage at the moment because I had to move. But um, I had about like 9 or 10 statues, I think, and I had some like really beautiful, like all black, Niña Negra, like big black ones, like tall ones and stuff like that. So it just grew and it became very beautiful. And I'll maybe try to see if there's a way that I can figure out how to like put pictures and stuff up so that you guys can see what it looked like at the time. Um, but yeah, so it was really nice, and so I started to kind of build a connection. I started to, be able to feel her presence, and I wouldn't say that I felt like she was really active, like she was active, like she was in my life, but it wasn't like how I see with some of my other spirits that I've dealt with. You know what I'm saying? And but she was there. I could definitely tell she was there, and so it was really nice, But then I ended up having to some things were going on in life, and I ended up having to last year, um, late last year, like in November, I ended up having to move from where I was, and life just kind of went through a lot of shifts and changes and things like that. And so I had to, of course, tear my all my shrines down and tear my Santa Muerte down. And so right now, all those statues and everything are in storage until I get into a situation where I can, really have the ability to set them back up, which I know in time will happen. But it had been three or four, about 3 or 4 months, you know, that I had not really been able to have anything set up, had not been able to work with her, I mean, you can always pray, but I hadn't been able to have like an altar set up where I can do offerings and the whole 9 yards, right? So about three, I want to say 3 weeks ago now, 3 or 4 weeks ago now, because right now I have you know, life is what it is, and so all my other statues are in storage and stuff like that. So about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I bought this statue that you see here, um, and cleansed it, set it up, prayed, consecrated it, all that stuff, and ever since I have done that, it has been amazing. It's been really amazing and really interesting. Because this time is like she's been super duper active, super duper active. So many dreams that I've been having, so many, just throughout the day, inspiration and guidance from her. Um, you know, I just went last weekend to a ceremony and, got some good messages from her in the ceremony. Oh, but let's back up. Let's rewind for a minute. So last year, before I had to move, I had gone to like earlier in the year last year. That how people do pacts with Santa Muerte. Some people. I've heard some people do pacts, some people don't. But last year there was a day that I was supposed to go and to this priestess, and we were gonna do a pact, right? I was gonna try to make a pact with Santa Muerte, and I was, told that I can come, and that sometimes, she accepts people for the pact, and some people she rejects for the pact. Like she works with everybody, she deals with everybody, but as far as the pact goes, some people she'll accept, some people she will reject as far as the pact. So I was like, okay, so I was gonna go and I was gonna do the pact. Long story short, the day comes around for when we are supposed to do the pact, and I was told that it ended up being canceled because not very. I was like the only person, I guess, that was signed up, to do it. And I guess whatever way that this particular person does the packs, it was too big a ceremony to try to do for one person, right? So she canceled it and she was like, okay, we'll do it the next time around that it comes that you can do it. So I was like, okay, fine, it is what it is. So I'm going along, just, still working with her at home and things like that. And, just being like, okay, whenever that day, the next time comes around, I'll do it then. However, we a few months later we got into there was a ceremony that we went to, and actually it was for Santa Muerte. I think it was for the um like no, I think it was like November 1st, like that holiday in there, right? And so it was a ceremony that they were doing for Santa Muerte, and in the ceremony, Santa Muerte came in possession and mounted the priestess, possessed the priestess, and did the pact with me there on her own. Like she came to me and did the pact, which I really thought was really amazing because sorry, this lizard is really cracking me up, and he's just sitting here watching me talk. Anyway, but I thought it was really amazing because the fact that I had wanted to do the pact and it ended up being canceled. And I was told that some people she rejects, some people she accepts, and so for her to come on her own and do the pact with me, I thought was really profound and amazing. And it's something that I really am very grateful for and very appreciative of to her. So yeah, but anyway, then fast forward back to where I was. That so I just set her back up because I had to take things down and whatnot. So I just set her back up in the past like 3 or 4 weeks, and she's just been extremely amazing. So many dreams, so much inspiration, and this time around when I set her up, right when I set up her altar, bought this new statue, set everything up. And this I just set up for. This is actually not how it looks. I just set this up for the video, um, but yeah. So when I set her up this time, I came to her with an understanding of okay, at this point now, when I'm setting you up, I have this pact with you, right? And it's a pact that I didn't come seeking. You actually came to me and made this pact, right? So whatever it was that you saw in me, whatever the reason was that you chose to do that, right? I feel that it's because you have a purpose. You have a reason. So I said when I set it up, I just prayed to her and I asked her like, show me. There's so much research I could do, so many books I could read, so many websites I could go on, and come up with formulate my own ideas of how I think that I should honor you, that I think that I should worship you, and should I go traditional, should I go Catholic, should I go New Age, should I go, how should I go? So many different ways that I can come up with. So I was like, instead of me doing that, why don't you just show me how you want me to worship you and honor you and interact with you. What is it? What is your vision for this relationship that we're building, as opposed to what I think I can come up with, right? And I think that that really made a big difference in the connection, and so it really worked. And like immediately she started coming, giving me dreams and messages and all this stuff, right? And it was just really amazing, and so one of the things, and the reason I'm really making this video, I guess, one of the things that she has been talking to me about in my dreams and messages that I've been getting is that it is her will for me that I create, that I found a temple for her, right? And in the ceremony that I went to, that had been coming in dreams and through certain readings and things like that that I had been getting, that she kind of wanted me to be a leader and a teacher and, have a temple for her. And so in one of my dreams, she actually um, came in the dream. And I know some people, buy into priesthood and some people don't. But in the dream that I had, one of the dreams that I had, she actually came and initiated me you know, in the astral plane in the dream. So, she made me in the astral realm. She did the initiation to make me a priest of hers, which I thought was also amazing because that's something that there are initiations out there that you can do, and that you can go and do. And again, I didn't have to do it. She came to me and she did it. So I guess she really wants this temple made. So, I just think, it's just stuff like that's been really amazing. And then when I went to the ceremony last weekend, message came from her in the ceremony again that to confirm that yes, she wants me to create this temple. That she's initiated me, and she wants me to, which was so crazy because I actually believe that in that initiation, I can't tell what happened obviously, but I feel like I actually died like in real life and came back. Um, but yeah, so in the ceremony, it was confirmed that she really does want me to have a temple to her, that she's initiated me and she wants me to have to found a temple, and so that's what I'm in the process of doing. I'm gonna have this YouTube channel, which is the Philosophical Pagan, will probably get renamed because this is one of the things that she wants me to start out. It's the very beginning of the journey for the building of the temple, and so this is one of the ways that she wants me to kind of begin the process is by having this YouTube. Um, and then I also will have I'll put links in the description that will be to the Instagram. I'm going to set up a Facebook. We'll have the YouTube, and just over time, you'll start to, you'll see it grow. So I think it's going to be a um, really interesting journey and a really interesting page. And so I'll try to be, regular with the videos, and I will be doing, different video series, and it won't be the channel won't be 100% um, Santa Muerte material, but it will probably be primarily Santa Muerte material because this is an avenue that she wants me to use to begin the process of setting up the temple. So it will probably be primarily, videos about Santa Muerte. However, there will be other videos about other spirits and different series and stuff like that that I will do as well. Um, but yeah, so it's that's where we are, and that's so I just invite everybody to come along for the journey. I'll put links in descriptions of videos and everything as well. I do have, I am a medium, and I have, I do readings, mediumship readings. I do card readings. So those just those are available if anybody wants to get a reading. Um, but yeah, it's just gonna be I don't think that I'm better than anybody. I don't know anything. And obviously, there's a lot of people out there that will be watching and stuff like that that have way more experience than I have, and with her and way more knowledge of her than I do. But all of this that I'm doing is at her direction. It's her. She's the one that wanted me to do this. She's the one that gave me the idea for the YouTube, because even when she, made it clear that she wanted me to have a temple, I went and I said, okay, well, how do you want me to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, where do you want it to be? How do you want me to do it? I don't so the YouTube is one of the things that she told me to do. So that's why this YouTube is here, or this video, and we're going to begin doing these videos. So I'm still learning. I'm still growing. We're all still learning and growing. And, we'll just be one big happy family in Santa Muerte. Um, So yeah, comments, questions, contact me. I'm very open, love to talk, and yeah. So I look forward to it, and thank you for watching. And if you have any comments or anything, questions, let me know. All right. And so I'll be doing other videos very soon. Have a great day and many blessings in the name of